su collar.
No. Reliquia familiar. Fue gracioso. Una empleada lo robó una vez.
No, no es cierto. Lo siento. Entoné esa frase muy mal. Debía ser... No, no es cierto. ¿Trabajaba para usted?
Sí, años atrás. Me robó esto. Cometió la estupidez de volver. Se cayó por un risco y murió.
¡Qué terrible!
Así es, fue en mi baile de invierno y su muerte opacó por completo el evento. Hora de mi siesta de 9 minutos.
¿Quién era la mujer?
Ese no es el punto de la historia. Lo que importa es la suerte que tuve, pero ella tenía una hija que era única, especial, bla, bla, bla. Todo fue básicamente un caso de extorsión.
Tal vez es que amaba a su hija.
Tal vez tenía una sola persona que cuidar y fracasó horriblemente. No. Reliquia familiar.
Reliquia familiar. Some families tend to keep an object with a sentimental value that is passed from one generation to another. It could be anything, from a watch to a piece of furniture, or in this case, a necklace. The word reliquia refers to that special object, and familiar is an adjective that indicates it belongs to a family. We can use this adjective to express some things are suitable for a family as well. For instance, we could say a movie or TV show is familiar when it's suitable for all the family, even their younger members. Or even a place, like a restaurant or hotel, when the environment or installations are suitable for all members in a family, no matter their age.
Fue gracioso. Una empleada lo robó una vez.
No, no es cierto.
No es cierto. It seems Estela knows something about that necklace and the story around it, so she immediately disagrees when the Baroness accused an employee of stealing it once. The word no in Spanish means the same as no in English, but there are some differences in how it can be used.
No me voy.
For instance, in Spanish, you can use no at the beginning of a sentence to express that everything that comes after it is false.
¡No me iré jamás!
For example, if that's not your dog, you would say no es mi perro. In this case, Estela said es cierto, it's true, after no. So she actually meant to express that what the Baroness said is not true.
Lo siento. Entoné esa frase muy mal. Debía ser...
Entoné. The action of entonar is what you do when you adjust to a correct tone, similarly to what you do when you sing a song. When saying something, you set a tone to your speech to make sure you properly communicate what you intend. You can use a happy tone, an angry tone, an ironic tone, and the same phrase could express something totally different. Entoné is the past conjugation of the verb entonar in the first person form. So Estela meant she mistakenly sounded angry or with an angry tone when saying no es cierto.
Entoné esa frase muy mal. Debía ser... No, no es cierto.
Debía ser. Debía is a past conjugation of the verb deber, which is used to express an obligation, and ser is the verb to be. So debía ser is what in English would be should have been. As Estela just regret about the tone she used when saying no es cierto, she uses debía ser as an introduction to show how that tone should have actually been. Ironic.
¿Trabajaba para usted?
Trabajaba. The imperfect preterite conjugation of verbs is used to describe past ongoing actions that happened in an unspecific period of time. Trabajaba, for example, is the imperfect preterite form of the verb trabajar, to work, and it's the same when talking about a first person, yo trabajaba, I worked, and a third person, ella trabajaba, she worked. Verbs ending in ar as trabajar, to work, or estar, to be, will change their last R for the end aba, and verbs ending in as comer, to eat, and also ending in ir as vivir, to live, will change their last R for the end ia. So Estela is asking if she, the employee, worked for the Baroness sometime in the past.
Sí, años atrás.
Años atrás. If you already know how to say your age in Spanish, you know años means years.
Soy Salma Hayek, tengo 20 años.
¿Cuántos años tienes?
12 años.
Atrás is a preposition adverb to indicate something is behind or at the back. But when talking about time, we can translate it into ago. We can say años atrás, years ago, or tiempo atrás, time ago.
¿Me robó esto? ¿Cometió la estupidez de volver?
Cometió la estupidez de. Cometió is the past tense of cometer, to commit, and la estupidez de means the stupidity of. This expression in Spanish refers to the foolish way of doing the action that comes next. In this case, coming back after stealing the necklace. So we could think about this expression as an equivalent to foolishly. You see, some phrases like cometió la estupidez de aren't translated literally, so it's key to always take a look at the context and hear how natives use expressions. That is why I recommend learning Spanish with FluentU. FluentU is a platform with a great video database for you to learn with media like movie clips, music videos, interviews, and more, so you can see how words are used in different situations. Every video comes with interactive subtitles to follow along and quickly access a video dictionary for definitions and extra examples. Sounds good, right? Click the link in the description and get a free trial.
¿Me robó esto? ¿Cometió la estupidez de volver? Se cayó por un risco y murió.
Se cayó por. When we want to say someone performed an action that affected him or herself, we add the pronoun se before the action. This se is what is called a reflexive pronoun, and in this case it's referring again to the employee. The action in this sentence is cayó, which is the past tense of the verb caer, to fall. Not to be confused with cayó without tilde, which is aquí or k. Finally, por means by or through. So se cayó por can be translated into fell off. And if we put it all together, we'll know that the employee fell off a cliff and died.
¡Qué terrible!
Que. When you see the word que with an accent mark or tilde on the e, you know it's either part of a question or an exclamatory sentence.
¿Qué estás haciendo aquí?
¿Qué nombre tan estúpido?
In this case, it's used to put stress on the terrible the employee's story is. Think about it as how the word what works in English exclamatory sentences, as in, what a beautiful day, qué hermoso día.
Así es, fue en mi baile de invierno y su muerte opacó por completo el evento.
Así es. Another word with multiple meanings is así. If you're a beginner, it can be a bit of a headache to remember all the ways in which así can be used. But keep in mind, most of the time it intends to indicate a way in which something is done, as when in English you say like this, like that, this way, that way. You'll probably find out what the meaning is on every case, depending on the word before or after así. In this case, we have the word es, which means it is. So it would make sense to translate así es into something like that way it is. In the context of this dialogue, we can tell the Baroness used this expression to let Estela know she agrees that the situation described is indeed that way, terrible. Opacó por completo. Opacar is a verb that comes from the word opaco, which refers to something dark and dull, which doesn't let light come through. When someone performs the action of opacar, it's usually overshadowing someone else, and opacó is the second person past form of this verb. The phrase por completo, on the other hand, means literally by complete, but the right way to translate it is into completely.
Hora de mi siesta de 9 minutos.
Hora de mi siesta. You may already know hora means time. Then de is a word used to express possession, just like of or from in English. So it's easy to guess hora de means time of or time for. And anything after that is what's the time of or for. For example, hora de comer, time for eating, hora de estudiar, time for studying. In this case, we got mi siesta, my nap. So the Baroness is saying it's time for her nap.
¿Quién era la mujer?
¿Quién? As well as with que, the word quién, with a tilde, is found at the beginning of questions or exclamatory sentences. In questions, it's used to ask about a person, just like the word who does in English.
¿Dónde está Harvey? ¿Sabes quién es?
Entonces, ¿quién es ese?
Ese no es el punto de la historia. Lo que importa es la suerte que tuve.
Lo que importa. The pronoun lo means it in English, and que, without a tilde, is a word with multiple meanings. When it goes after a pronoun and before a conjugated verb, it's translated into what?
Eso es lo que dice él.
Note, as this is not a question or an exclamatory sentence, this que doesn't have a tilde on the e. Finally, importa means matter or matters. And of course, we wouldn't say it what matters in English. We'd simply say what matters. That's because in English it's common to skip pronouns, but we must include them in Spanish.
Pero ella tenía una hija que era única, especial, bla, bla, bla.
Tenía. Tenía is the past conjugation of the verb tener, to have, both in the first and second person singular. So you could say, yo tenía, I had, as well as él or ella tenía, he or she had. ¿Qué era? We have que without tilde again, but in this case it works as a relative pronoun to relate a noun with its description. The noun here is la hija, the daughter of the employee, and her description is única, especial, unique, special. So in this context, que would be translated into who. And finally, era is the past tense of the verb to be. So que era really means who was.
Todo fue básicamente un caso de extorsión.
Tal vez ella...
Tal vez. Tal vez is a phrase that indicates there is a possibility, as maybe, or perhaps. Estela is starting to doubt about the Baroness story, so she's trying to guess what other possibilities could there be regarding that employee and what really happened to her.
Tal vez es que amaba a su hija.
Amaba. Amaba is another imperfect preterite conjugation, as trabajaba was, and it comes from the verb amar, to love. Estela is guessing the employee used to love her daughter when she was still alive. Every day, not just on a specific date. That's why she used this type of conjugation instead of the simple past, which is amó.
Tal vez tenía una sola persona que cuidar y fracasó horriblemente.
Una sola persona. Una is the indefinite article for feminine singular nouns. Sola, in this context, refers to being a single one, the only one. The employee had an only child, so the Baroness is referring to her daughter as the single persona, person, the employee had to look after. Fracasó. This is another word that would have a slightly different meaning without its tilde at the end. If it didn't have it, it would be pronounced fracaso and would refer to something with a bad result, a failure basically. But fracasó, with its ending accent, is the past second person conjugation of the verb to fail, so it means failed. Both are closely related, but being one a noun and the other a verb, we certainly need to know the difference.
Del fracaso se aprende. Del éxito, no mucho.
Always remember, if you're unsure, try to think about the context and see which type of word will make a better sense in each case. If you want to study these phrases later, we've prepared a free PDF. Just click the link in the description below. Now, let's see the full movie clip and find out how much you've learned.
Su collar.
No, reliquia familiar. Fue gracioso. Una empleada lo robó una vez.
No, no es cierto. Lo siento. Entoné esa frase muy mal. Debía ser... No, no es cierto. ¿Trabajaba para usted?
Sí, años atrás. Me robó esto. Cometió la estupidez de volver. Se cayó por un risco y murió.
Qué terrible.
Así es, fue en mi baile de invierno y su muerte opacó por completo el evento. Hora de mi siesta de 9 minutos.
¿Quién era la mujer?
Ese no es el punto de la historia. Lo que importa es la suerte que tuve, pero ella tenía una hija que era única, especial, bla, bla, bla. Todo fue básicamente un caso de extorsión.
Tal vez ella... Tal vez es que amaba a su hija.
Tal vez tenía una sola persona que cuidar y fracasó horriblemente.